Good afternoon, everybody. It's David Schlotthauer here in the home weather office for Wednesday, January the 10th, 2024. In today's update, we are talking about a bombing cyclone for the Midwest, for the Great Lakes that will bring blizzard conditions. We're also talking about all-time record low temperatures as a big Arctic air mass sets into place into the Midwest by early next week. We have a lot to digest in today's update. So first, we're going to be looking at the European model and comparing that with the GFS model that both indicate a bombing cyclone is looking very likely for the upper Midwest and the Great Lakes by the weekend into early next week. So looking at the Euro for this afternoon, and we can see there is our system that brought a lot of strong winds, heavy snow, big time severe weather for the deep south and also for the southeast. But there's another system lurking out there, and it is this one in the Pacific Northwest that is going to deliver quite a bit of heavy rainfall and some big time winds for the Midwest and also some heavy snowfall. So fast forwarding into January the 11th, 2024 for your Thursday afternoon time frame for the high plains, and we can see where that system is going to be located here on the latest Euro model. 920 or 995 millibars in northern Texas and Oklahoma. But while this system doesn't look all that big, wait until we go into Friday morning, January the 12th, 2024. It is a much bigger system. This is really going to take off because we have a lot of upper level support. We have a lot of baroclinic ascent, and this system, it loves that, okay? So we're going to get a lot of diffluent flow aloft. We're going to lower the surface pressures, a big mass response, and that's going to lead to a lot of heavy rainfall, severe weather, yes, for the deep south, and also for portions there of, say, if you're in Arkansas, even for Tennessee, you've got to watch things closely because severe weather could even extend into that area. We'll get to more of that in just a little bit, but very dynamic system. By Friday afternoon, January the 12th, 2024, so this is roughly about 58 to 60 hours out, and look at this swath of heavy snowfall. All this blue on your screen illustrates just how expansive the snow will be. We got very strong winds because of those isobars, the lines of equal pressure. The pressure gradient is very tight. That's what we call our pressure gradient force, and that's going to really lead to some big time winds. We're talking about blizzard conditions at this point in time, power outages. It's just not a day to do anything. Friday is a downright stormy day by all means. Look at this for Indiana. May not see snow, but you're also going to see some big time winds, power outages. Doesn't surprise me if we see numerous power outages in Indiana and Ohio across the upper Midwest and the Great Lakes region. This is going to continue all the way into Saturday morning. Look at this. This system then continues to impact Michigan. Also, maybe some snow wrapping on the backside of that low over Indiana. No snow for New York City this time, okay? This is going to be a warm system, just like your last one, and so no snowfall is expected. So if you all are playing wishy-willy, like, oh, we're going to get snow, David, on I-95 corridor. No, you are not going to see snow. Don't even worry about it because it is not going to happen. Instead, you're going to be looking at some big time heavy rainfall and some strong winds similar to the last system that you all had yesterday. And then by Saturday afternoon into Sunday, that system moves out. But lake effect snow is going to be something that we're really going to be watching because the cold air is going to be moving in. And with the rather warm Great Lake waters, there's going to be some big time lake effect snow, maybe more blizzard conditions and more significant impacts for like Lake Erie, Pennsylvania. The downwind side of these lakes could have several inches, if not feet, of snowfall over the next several days. Now, when that system moves out of the northeast, it exits the region. We're also keeping an eye on another system. Yes, the weather pattern really continues to get active here for California, for Nevada, for Oregon, Washington. The Euro and the Canadian models have been very consistent at showing a pretty impactful system for California. Very heavy rainfall, very heavy mountain snowfall for the higher elevations, maybe some blizzard conditions up there. Winter storm warnings are likely to be issued, and we're also seeing power outages with that one. So a pretty significant atmospheric river type system cutting across into Northern California, and then that system is going to be moving into the Midwest by next week. Not particularly a big snow producer, but much colder air will be in the wake of this one, and we'll get to that in just a second on just how cold it's going to get. You're going to want to look at this, folks, because we're going to see some temperatures that you have not seen in over 50 years, potentially. Then by the middle of next week, we'll see how the Euro handles this out very well. By the middle of January, that's the 16th, we could see a little bit of snowfall for the eastern seaboard, and then eventually maybe more significant snow for the northeast. Yet again, that would be a nor'easter, but again, there's a lot of uncertainty yet to be worked out and ironed out by the global deterministic model from the Euro. Now, the GFS model, let's kind of play this through kind of rather slowly. We can see there's your previous storm. Here comes the next one, the GFS and the Euro. Pretty consistent here. Now, the GFS wants to snow much further south than what the Euro wants, so it is going to be interesting to see which model ends up being more correct here. But long story short, all you need to know is wherever this surface low actually occurs, to the north of that is where you're going to be seeing the biggest snow, possibly a couple of feet at times in some areas like Illinois, Michigan, with the lake effect snow machine going on. You could see a couple of feet without a surprise, and then that moves out of the picture by the weekend, followed by a second system. Now, again, the GFS has not been very excited about the one for California, whereas the Canadian and the European models have been more consistently showing at a more decent snow and rain producer storm for California. And then that system moves into the Midwest, and then there comes that Arctic air, boy. Wait until you see the temperature anomalies. It is very concerning. Snowfall totals for the Great Lakes region. This is within the next 84 hours. So, of course, since there's going to be enough colder air, we're going to use a different formula here, which is Kachira. And so, snowfall totals throughout this ribbon that I've circled in, you might see as much as 6 to 12 inches in many spots with isolated areas, especially over southeastern Wisconsin, northeastern portion there of Illinois, northernmost Indiana, and say if you're in central Michigan, you might end up seeing 12 to 18 inches of snowfall. Now, there is some of these areas that could get favored a little more, where you might see up to 20 inches or even 24 inches, which would be near a couple of feet of snow with this storm system. So Winter Storm Gerri is going to be very strong, and then of course maybe some lake effect snow for some of the isolated locations for the northeast before that system moves on through. All right, the GFS model is also very similar with its snowfall forecast, anywhere between 12 to 18 inches of snow, anywhere between Nebraska into Iowa, northern Missouri, northern Illinois. More snow further south, though, into Indiana, so something to keep in mind, as well as central Michigan, where you might pick up anywhere between 12 to 18 inches. So quite a bit of snowfall with this one. Blizzard conditions are a sure bet with this storm system, and so please keep that in mind. It's going to be the heavy snow, strong winds, colder temperatures, just a bad combination to do anything outdoors for Friday into the weekend. Now, of course, for the Intermountain West, you could pick up an additional 2 to 3 feet of snow, depending on elevation-wise. The valleys might get only 3 to 5 inches, while the higher peaks like the Sierra Nevada, the Cascades, might pick up an additional 2 to 3 feet of snowfall. Now, if we look at the Euro model, it is a little bit more bullish for the higher elevations, but also it's a more high-resolution model, so we're probably going to rely on the Euro over the GFS in this case, just because the GFS has not been cooperating in recent days. I don't know if it's because the pattern is that uncertain or what, but it's very unusual to see a very uncertain forecast for Saturday's storm for the West, despite it being only about 3 or 4 days away. So there's a lot to be ironed out there. So now, the dynamics coming at play with this system are going to be very significant. We have a negatively tilted trough, so you can see it right here anchored into the Midwest. Left exit region here where the winds kind of round the base of that trough. Very strong dynamics at play here. We have cyclogenesis going on, which means the pressure is going to drop 24 millibars in 24 hours, and that's what Winter Storm Gerri is going to do. Because we have such good dynamics at play, we have winds aloft. This is kind of the upper level wind chart that we're looking at. So when you have winds that do this, okay, they separate, they go outward. That's what we call divergence aloft. You actually get an air mass response, okay, where we get surface pressures that lower beneath that, and that's why we get cyclogenesis, and that's what we have here. Very, very intense short wave here, negatively tilted. We're going to have a lot of severe weather. We're not going to talk a whole lot about that today because we have to keep an eye on the temperatures. But long story short, the Storm Prediction Center has issued a 30% significant for severe weather on Friday for the southeast. This includes 75 plus mile an hour wind gusts potentially and numerous tornadoes, some of which could be strong and long tracked. Friday is a day that we really got to watch for, folks, because that has the potential to being very, very significant, okay? I mean, probably a severe weather outbreak similar to with what we had yesterday morning. So now let's get talking about the temperature anomaly forecast. This is very, very concerning, okay? What you're about to see is ironic. It is historic. We could see decade-old records being broken, folks. All-time record low temperatures in the northern tier, in the northern plains, especially in Montana. If you're in, say, British Columbia, if you're in Alberta, Canada, this could be life-threatening, or this will be life-threatening when you see temperatures as cold as what you're about to see. So I want to just kind of go through this with detail. What you're looking at here is your temperature anomaly forecast. And the reason why I am actually using weathermodels.com is because their range of scale here is more clearer and more better than on WeatherBell, where it maxes out at -35, which is the brightest pink you can get. Here on weathermodels.com, it is -60, which is the lowest, the anomalies below average you can go, and the above. So the orange and red shading here is actually more significant than what it might appear on WeatherBell, right? That is about 15 to 20 degrees above normal in Quebec and Ontario. But it's up here in Canada on the European model that indicates that temperatures here could be 25 to 35 degrees below average, all right, this afternoon. But that's not all. Let's go forward in time here. This is for this afternoon. By the time we go into Friday morning, so this is Friday morning, January the 12th, there's the Arctic air. And look at some of those anomalies, folks. 70 degrees below average. 70 degrees below average. I am not lying. If you guys want to see this for yourself, I have it boxed in right here. See your minimum and maximum. So your minimum temperature below average is 70 degrees and your maximum temperature above normal is 41.9. We're at 70 degrees up here. That is very, very concerning. You don't see that very often, and it's in some of these valley spots where the coldest air could actually get pulled into. So then by the time we go into Saturday morning, yeah, 81 degrees below average, 81 degrees below normal in Montana, northern Idaho. I mean, wow. That's all I gotta say. I mean, we're gonna certainly have record low temperatures on a daily. Daily record lows will be destroyed. All right, monthly record lows could be destroyed too. If not, we might even see decade or even half of a decade year-old temperature records being broken here because of how cold it's going to be. Temperatures here for the Midwest, 15 to 25 degrees below normal, not as significant, right? But let's go forward in time here. Look at this cold air moving in. Temperatures 20 to 35, maybe 45 to even 50 degrees below normal in Montana by Sunday morning too, all right? And this is going to continue. This cold air really going to impact much of the Midwest throughout the middle of next week and even probably for a while. We have another reassurance of cold air within the next 10 days that can keep these temperatures well below average for the Midwest and for the Southeast. So brace yourself, folks. It's coming. It is going to come with a ton of bricks. I promise you that. Going from well above to now then well below average in a matter of hours. So now, looking at your temperature and your actual air temperature forecast, because a lot of you are probably wondering, how cold is it going to be for my area? Now, I know it's very hard to see those actual temperature numbers. I'm so sorry about that. This is from weathermodels.com, but you can see in Montana, for the overnight hours tonight for Thursday, single digits, -5 to -10 degrees, right? Not too bad compared to, say, in Canada, where it's like -40 to -50 degrees, right? That's where the cold air is going to be. But then guess what? Here it comes. By the time we go into Saturday morning, some areas here in Montana might have temperatures -35 to -50 to even -60 degrees. Some of the valley locations here, some of the high, the coldest spots could even have temperatures as cold as -70 degrees below zero. That right there will kill people, and I don't like using the word kill or fatality in my video, but I mean, folks, you cannot survive in this. You just cannot. Even with the heaviest layers you could put on, you could put 10 layers on, and you would really feel the chill on your body still. So please take this seriously. This is no joke at all. No bueno for Montana, for British Columbia, and for Alberta, Canada. Something in historical record era that we might be dealing with, and that continues. Look at these temperatures. -25, -30 degrees in Montana still, and then fast forwarding the clock, look at this, even -20 degrees by the middle of next week over Iowa, for Illinois, for, say, Missouri. This is not good. This is impacting a huge population. Over 80 to 100 million people, actually no, more like 70 to 90 million people could have temperatures at or below 0 degrees. It's a big population, and then in the next 10 days, look at these temperatures. Very cold for the United States. So I don't see much changes, folks, and this is pretty concerning. Your wind chill temperature could even be colder than the actual air temperature. Look at these numbers, folks. I mean, my gosh. Of course, all of Canada, you're going to have wind chill values anywhere between -50 to -60 degrees. Portions of Montana, by the way, portions of Montana, like the valleys, some of the coldest spots, could have wind chill values as cold as -80 degrees. Wow. I'm telling you, folks, I am telling you right now, you're not going to like it. You're not going to like it when it strikes, because this is in historical records. All right, and then, of course, wind chill values -35 to -40 in, say, Iowa. So the cold air really not going to let up very much. And then wind chill values as cold as -30 degrees by the end of the forecast, roughly right around the middle to the end of January. Could be very cold for the northern plains, or will be very cold, with that lake effect snow machine definitely on in full swing. Therefore, there is not only a risk for record-breaking temperatures with a 60 to almost 80% chance for significant Arctic outbreak temperatures for the upper Midwest, and also for, say, the northern plains and for portions there of Montana. But look at these temperature chances of below average. 90% chance of it occurring over where John 54-2E lives. So some of my viewers live over here in Missouri and Illinois. This is that means it's going to happen. A 90 to 100% chance that you're going to have below average temperatures. So that's like, okay, there's like a 1% chance that you see temperatures above normal. I mean, there's no chances at all. Versus if you're in California, the only area that will have some very warm temperatures, possibly some mid-60s, some low 70s back into the forecast potentially. So if you don't like this Arctic area, you can travel back west towards California, where it is going to be fairly dry and very warm. Classic for a La Nina pattern, where we do get typical below average precipitation and above average temperatures for the west. Now, if you did like today's detailed weather outlook and discussion on the big winter storm Gerri that you all will be dealing with, blizzard conditions, some of the strongest winds you have ever dealt with since Winter Storm Elliott of last year in Christmas, Please consider subscribing if you haven't already, folks. I mean, you have to subscribe right now if you did like today's detailed weather forecast and discussion. Also, be sure to hit the thumbs up button if you did like today's video, and also be sure to leave a comment in the section below. You guys, I love you guys so much that I really do enjoy making these videos and keeping you all updated on this Willy Wonka weather pattern that is setting into place across much of the 48 of the United States. And then, of course, if you want to check out my Sacramento Weather Center and the Discord server, please be sure you do so, all right? I do have a Weather Force Discord server that I would highly recommend checking out right now. Discord is loading very slow today. And so be sure to check that out. You can't miss my Discord server. It's Weather Force. There's a link in the description below this video where you could find that. It is free to join today. Thank you all for watching, and I'll be back in the weather office tomorrow with another detailed update on this big winter storm. Possibly a live stream still being considered. Actually, no live stream tomorrow. I meant more than likely on Friday, I'll be streaming. I got my days mixed up. Today is Wednesday, tomorrow's Thursday, and then Friday is the big day.